Many families sang in the church choir. Me too. Back then, I was in the choir. My parents. On Sundays, my siblings, my family had 14 girls and 3 boys. My mother was an amazing singer. People told me that. I was deaf, so I couldn't enjoy her singing. Anyway, on Sundays, my mother sang in the choir. My brothers and sisters did too, including me. Even though I was deaf, I was in the choir. The lineup was children's choir, youth choir, teen choir, and so on. With all the choirs lined up, I stood in the first row because I was the shortest of all. I was right out in front, which I didn't like, so I switched places with this other singer. The choir master would bring out a baton and gestured us to begin. I held up my hymn book. I watched everything out of the corners of my eyes. I opened my hymn book and my mouth while watching the singers next to me. If they opened their mouths wide, I opened my mouth just like them. When they closed their mouths, I did too. And so on. My voice had no sound. I made up my lip movements. My mother had forced me into the choir. I had no choice. I saw that people would scan the choir, stop when they saw me, and continue on. I knew that, but what else could I do? So I grew up, suffering like that. My mother was so proud, but I felt so silly. It so happened that I finally had the courage to go up to my mother. I spoke and gestured, "I'm sorry, but I can't do choir. I look silly." My mother finally said, "Okay, no more singing." I thought, fine, and sat in the last pew. In those days, we didn't have a church interpreter. So in the last pew, I got bored and looked at the people around me. I saw a heavy-set, drowsy man tilt his head. I broke into laughter. I tried to contain myself, but my loud laughing reverberated in the church. I tried to contain my laughing. Then I saw a woman's hat. Oh, black people are big on dressing up in their finest every Sunday. In their pumps, at all sorts of hats, some with tails and veils, all gorgeous. Anyway, I saw this woman's hat with a foxtail on its brim. I watched this woman nodding, and her foxtail flipped. I just laughed out loud. I couldn't control it. Next thing I knew, my mother pulled me out of church by my ear, chewing me out. I tried not to laugh. I explained, "I'm bored and I don't understand the service." My mother crossed her arms and paused. "Okay, you can stay home." It felt so good. I jumped with joy. I never went to church on Sundays after that. My brothers and sisters were so mad and jealous of me. I just pointed at them and gloated.